Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Follow me on my finance channel at AIH Finance. All right, I wanted to touch base once again on conflict of interest. And part of this information that I got was from MNT Trading, aka Extrinsic Collections. He does a really good job on Twitter regarding the sports card hobby and also just many other aspects. Now, what happened maybe a month or 2 months ago, I did a video on, does great curator have a conflict of interest with market movers? And also Dan the card man covered it. He covered my video as well. And we think alike because we're accountants and we have to deal with conflicts of interest. There's segregation of duties. And a lot of people who are not accountants, who are not in the financial world, they don't understand this concept. So, no offense to the great curator, he probably doesn't have to deal with it too much. And also, the market movers people, I don't think they have to deal too much with it as well. And I think, what's his name? Teapot, at some point, he blocked me from my understanding. And I just don't understand this mindset. If he did block me, I just don't understand the mindset of some of these guys. Like, hey, look, I'm questioning this, right? And I have a legit reason to question it. Okay. And there's also many other aspects that I want to get into. But before I do, I wanted to show you. I talk about this individual all the time. His name is Dr. Shiva. He talks about the medical establishment, right? And how some hanky panky goes down. And I want to, tie it into the sports card arena, the collectibles arena. And I'll let you listen in and I'll talk a little bit about this. I don't want too much to be discussing the hanky panky in the science world, but it's all over. And I'll tell you why I'm very particular on conflicts of interest.
Cutting pieces, and that's called reductionism. Okay, that's the next thing we want to be able to expose and stop with cytosol. And then finally, there's an incestuous web of science. And look at what goes on here. I want everyone to really take some notes and understand this. This is why scientific research is not science by the people for the people. It's science by the few for the few to make a bunch of money and keep the science by the few for the few going. This is why that Alzheimer's nonsense that came out for 16 years, the research group, this guy bullshitted the research. He made up research, which resulted in billions of dollars going into an Alzheimer's area, which was complete nonsense. And think about this. These are the big guys at Harvard and all these big schools, just fully bullshitting people day in and day out. Okay. How do they do this? Well, this is the incestuous in science. They got, by the way, so the same guy who's deciding where funds to go, let's say for Alzheimer's, sits on the NIH review board. That same guy is on the scientific advisory board of some big pharma company. The same guy is also an editor of a journal for the major journal publications that say in Alzheimer's, and he's also the department head in Alzheimer's. You see? So, and this is the incestuousness. So if you are a researcher and you have some brilliant idea or you have data that says, oh, these herbs can solve Alzheimer's, and I have data, they're going to call you a snake oil salesman. They won't even give you the opportunity for your research light to come out, but they will do this incestuous web.
All right. You can watch the video. This was 4 months ago that he did. And it talks about what the brain, the gut, blood brain barrier and all that stuff. So regardless, I wanted to get into what he was saying. He was saying that, hey, look, there's this researcher that made up some items regarding Alzheimer's research. And what ended up happening was a lot of people used it in their studies and they faulted, this phony data. And this guy was apparently, part of the establishment, and any contrary opinion was shut down. And this is the problem here that I'm noticing is that you have a lot of these high IQ guys, and these same high IQ guys, they said like, show me the proof, show me the proof. These are the same type of guys that don't understand the amount of hanky panky that goes on in our society. And that's why I question the narrative. A lot of these guys I mentioned over and over again believe the narrative. Now, I wanted to look into Collectables, right? This company. Yeah, I'm going to tell you and ask you, or I'm going to tell you a few things. And this is what I see on their website in the About section. This is what, as of today, this is what, January 1st. I'm going to post this sometime later this week, whenever I have the minute to do so. But the advisor, they don't really show the advisor, but I went through it for you guys. And it's Joe Orlando out of PSA. Okay, fine, whatever, What I find quite interesting when they first started out, and I don't know if they deleted this, and this is the tip that I got from MMT Trading, right? One of them. And I did some more digging after I was DMing him. This was about a month or two ago. Look at the advisors, okay? All right. This is Wayback Machine, November 1st, 2020. I don't know if they're still advisors, right? But isn't it quite interesting that they have advisors of maybe even not a competitor, but like some big company out there, right? Is this a conflict of interest? I'm not saying it is, but people will be like, hey, look, is this like the go along, get along gang, as Kwame Brown says? So it's talking about, okay, Leland's auctions, advisors, okay. Mike Hempner, this is in what, 2020? And he just talks about a little bit about his bio. I just find it quite interesting where you have like an auction site and you have Collectables where, you have the sales of these high end cards, collectibles. They're advising them. I just find that quite interesting. I'm not sure if some people are okay with that. I'm like, I don't know, but okay, it is what it is. There is also Rally. This is also the tip that I got from, or what I was looking at from Mike's Twitter page, right? MMT Trading. And he talked about Rally and he did some digging. He actually went through the SEC documents. You have to give him props for that because a lot of people don't look at that, right? And if you just go through the documents here, you could see, maybe I should zoom in a little bit if I can. All right, let's look at this. Okay, so I just zoomed in just a little bit here. Maybe I'm just going to go here. All right, so look at this, right? SEC document, right? And then it says what? Ken Golden is a beneficial owner, and the interest owns 34,000% of class 19%. All right, so let's just look at this. This is Rally, okay? And let's take a look at this, right? Without conceding the interest in any of the company constitute voting securities under Rule 405 of the Securities Act, in accordance with the SEC staff, we agree to provide a table disclosing the information called for under item 12 of Form IA with respect to each person that holds in excess of 12% of the interest of a series of a company. Okay, so it's a series of a company, okay? So I just find that interesting, right? So Ken Golden, number of interests own 34,000% of class, 19%. I have to do more digging, on what Ken Golden has anything to do with this regarding Rally. And goes on here. And you know who else is in this? Darren Rovelle, right? I like Darren Rovelle, 15%. So what the issue I think Michael had with Darren Rovelle, he said like, hey, look, you're selling things, or it looked like some of the things that are being sold on Rally. And what you are, it seems that could be some potential conflict of interest. Some people say yes, some people say no. And the thing is, he works for the Action Network. So is that impairing his ability to cover the collectibles industry? Now, there's great debate on this, but looking back to what, Dr. Shiva said, right? He was talking about, hey, look, these guys, they're they are in all parts of the establishment, and it's conflict of interest. That's what he's saying. So I'm just looking at it. I'm like, for me, from an accounting, internal control, segregation of duties, this probably would not fly. Okay. But, we can definitely have, disagreements here. But for me, as an accountant, not, I think there should be maybe more disclosures. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on this. You know, the last thing I wanted to say is that, when Great Curator is making indexes, I think they framed it as, hey, look, this is the cards that he likes. Okay, but he owns cards in that particular index. Or from what I've been told, he owns some of those cards. And also Merle, from what I was told, had some of those cards. Now, from a materiality perspective, it's not the biggest issue out there, but what happens down the road with other indexes that market movers may create? I think that is a conflict of interest. That is a conflict of interest that is ready to be formed, in my opinion. And these guys that make the market movers or the card ladders of the world, do they have certain cards that they hype up in the index, right? That's something I'd like to know. Because are you trying to hype up your own investments out there? And I think these type of questions need to be asked, because a lot of people are scared of asking these questions. There's also, like I mentioned, the naive people out there that don't see the conflict of interest, that usually drink the Kool-Aid by the mainstream media propaganda. The list goes on and on and on. But what I'm trying to say is that, hey, these questions need to be asked. People on YouTube should be asking these questions, and people like me should not be questioned. It should be the individuals in this hobby that have a vested interest and could show a potential conflict of interest, guys. But anyways, I wanted to hear your thoughts about this. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below, guys. Thank you. Bye.